right. Hello, everybody. Full Run Fridays. And I just finished this run, at least with the first print the other day. So I want to talk about one of my favorite things out there, and that is Elfquest. All right. So we got two copies of Fantasy Quarterly #1. Fantasy Quarterly #1 was the company that produced the first issue of Elfquest. The company folded after they produced the first issue of Elfquest because the company did not produce quality work. I don't know how well you'll see this, but the artwork is pretty terrible. Everything's pixelated. The paper is super thin and rippable inside. The cover is newspaper thin. It's just really, really bad. But the story was great. And so Wendy and Richard Pini, the authors, writer, and artist of this, said if you want something done right, you got to do it yourselves. And so they went ahead and started Warp Graphics, Warp standing for Wendy and Richard Pini. And they self-produced back in 1978, pre-Turtles, their own comic. And this really was the beginning of, they weren't the first independent comic ever, but the first independent comic company that lasted. So here's issue 1. I just picked this up the other day. See that dollar there? That dollar indicates first print. There were 3 printings of issue 1, so be very careful. Make sure that you've got the right printing. This one needs a press and a clean, but it was a decent copy. I overpaid a little bit for it, but I don't care because I've been going after that #1. This features Cutter, the chief of the Wolf Riders at Pack of Elves, and Night Runner, his wolf right there. This is them at the time of the story. He is chief of the Wolf Riders, a very young chief, though he's probably like 60 or 70 years old. They measure time differently than humans, which is typical of elves in a lot of different stories. Here is actually a better condition copy, but you notice that $1.25, second print, and of course, I got this one signed by Wendy and Richard Pini. The elves' home gets burnt down by humans that attacked them, and they got tricked by the trolls into going out to the desert, which is where the Wolf Riders met up with the Sun Folk, of whom we see Lita there, and being chased down. Obviously, I've got some gunk to get off this one. I think it's probably one of those things where I meant to take care of it, and I never did. There is a pinup of Lita on the back. Absolutely gorgeous, gorgeous artwork by Wendy Pini. Here is, I believe that is the first print, $1.25. That one was the second print, the $1.50. I had them backwards order. My apologies. And then, of course, Cutter gets into a fight with Rayek up here over courtship of Lita, and they face each other in a challenge. Cutter is afraid of heights. That's his best friend Skywise in the blue, and Sava, the mother of memory, in the back, played by I Am Cree Summer. That's her Instagram handle. Cree Summer in the audio movie. Elfquest has been picked up, I think by Amazon Prime, to become an animated show. Probably we'll see that in a few years. Here the Wolf Riders have a wolf howl where they sing of like their ancestry, is how they pass down their history and stuff. Lita is spying on them. That's where she realizes that Cutter may not be as savage as she originally thinks. Here's Cutter's parents, who are dead at the time of the original saga, Joyleaf and Bearclaw. And I forget the names of their wolves. I used to, I was like any kid, I used to memorize all the wolves and all the tribe members. I've forgotten a little bit by now, and that's okay. The Zwoots attacked the Sun Village, and the Sun Villagers usually hide, but the Wolf Riders like, no, we'll hunt them for you. We can eat them. We can tame them. People are like, okay, cool. Tree Stump, who is Dushine's father, and Scouter, who is Dushine's lover or life mate, soulmate. I think they were life mates, became soulmates later. Uh, Bad things happen, and Cutter realizes he's got to go on a quest to find other elves because Sava basically got taken over or like inhabited by an evil spirit, and they weren't sure what was going on. I think that's what happened. So, is that what happened, or did that happen later? I honestly can't remember now. Anyway, Cutter decides that he's got to leave and go with Skywise on a quest. They go back to their original forest and meet up with the trolls who had tricked them. Get them first. They get captured, then they get them drunk, and they try to escape. There's Picknose, one of the trolls. Trolls being kind of hapless. Here, Cutter is sick, and humans take care of him. Skywise and Cutter had only known humans to be evil. They actually discovered that not all humans are evil, and the kind of the evolution of their consciousness and stuff. Here we have a lot of the characters, the younger characters in the Sun Village. So we've got Woodsong, sorry, we've got Suntop and Ember, who are the daughters of Lita and Cutter. And we've got Wing and New Star. Wing is a Sun Villager. New Star is the daughter of Woodlock and Rainsong, two of the gentler wolf riders who stayed in the Sun Village. And Dart, I believe, is Strongbow's son, if I remember correctly. Now everybody gets together and goes after Cutter and Skywise, and they find what they think is the skull of a dead elf. This beautiful pinup of Skywise right there. Skywise is like your slutty cousin who you're in awe of. Petalwing, one of the preservers who they run into in the forest. There's a great Red Lance and Nightfall. Red Lance and Nightfall are usually big supporters of Cutter. Their quest eventually leads them to the Winnow Will is part of. I can't remember the one tribe of elves who basically are a little wackadoodle in the head. They capture some of them, and the Wolf Riders try to respond. Got a great pinup of Strongbow and Moodshade there. Two of my favorites. Two of everybody's favorites, I think. And then what is the Way? The Way is kind of the Wolf Riders' cultural belief in how things should be. And Strongbow is the strongest preserver of holder onto of the Way. And a lot of the beliefs and tenets of the Way get turned upside down, get attacked when the Wolf Riders come into contact with Lord Vol and the rest of the elves that he and Winnowill are in charge of. And there's just great. I mean, I haven't mentioned the artwork because I don't want this to go on forever, but look at the artwork. So freaking amazing. The Wolf Riders discover their secret. They discover that they actually are descended from wolves, that their oldest ancestor shapeshifted and mated with a wolf, and they have actual wolf blood in them. Pike is like our comic relief. He always finds the Dreamberry, makes the wine. He's just a happy little hippie elf. Pretty awesome. Moving on, there's now a battle. It looks like the humans who serve I'm going to call them the mountain. I can't remember their names. The mountain elves, but that's what we're going to call them. Help protect them as Cutter is trying to free their kingsman from Winnowill, who you see down here has Suntop, Cutter's son. And a big battle ensues. There is Winnowill and Tildak. Tildak is just a sad story. Winnowill has warped his body and given him wings. The elves think that they are free. The Wolf Riders think they're free, that Lord Vol is going to free them. But he does not want to give up his way. And so then he double crosses the Wolf Riders, and bad things happen. Plus, one of their birds were shot down by Two Edge, who we haven't actually seen yet. There's One Eye, who is aptly named because he's got one eye, and Clearbrook. Two more of the Wolf Riders. Lita comes face to face with something that scares her. I love that cover. It's just gorgeous. And then look at this. This is Two Edge. Half troll, half elf, 100% crazy. big battle. The go backs join the wolf riders, and they battle against the mountain trolls, who are much more vicious and savvy and cruel and effective than the forest trolls that Cutter and his tribe knew. Ekoar, we meet later. He is an elf who's lost limbs and is super, super old, but he's happy and funny. And Kavi is the leader of the Go-Backs, who are a group of elves that have continually tried to go back over the mountain where the mountain elves are and past the mountain trolls are underneath and all this stuff. I don't want to get too far into it. It's amazing. My whole point here is you should read it. We've got Cutter now. They found this armor. And so the whole idea here is a lot of the strings behind the scene have been pulled by Two Edge. He wants the elves to fight the trolls in a battle to the death because he wants to figure out, is he troll or is he elf? Can't be half and half. He wants to figure out which blood is going to win. So he outfits the elves in this special armor that he's armor metal people that he's built. I can't remember. Words are failing me today. Wow. And there's going to be a big battle. There's Guttlecraw, chief of the mountain trolls. While most of the wolf riders are off to battle, Redlance is left at home with some of the younger ones in the go-backs like hut to protect them, and they get attacked secretly by the troll. And of course, bad things happen. There's Lord Vol. Wolf riders, go-backs, sun villagers, sun folk, and I can't remember the Lord Vol and Tildak and Winnowill, what their tribe is called. I feel so stupid. And then finally, after the big battle, we have the quest's end. And so everything is good. There's the 4 elf tribes, including the one whose name I forget. They all make it, or not all of them. Some of them make it to the castle, which is like the time-traveling machine that brought the elves and their celestial selves across time and space to this world, the world of 2 moons. Shen Shen is one of the sun villagers, and there's Woodlock and Rainsong, and presumably New Star, unless that's another child of theirs. I can't remember. And then they produced a last issue, issue 21. This is not part of the story. It's all just like sketches and essays and, cool stuff talking about the history of the Wolf Riders and talking about the history of Elfquest itself. And this great picture on the back, I won't give it away, but one of the elves did die in that big battle. And this is just a beautiful color page for that. So, pretty awesome. Great run by getting that issue 1 first print. I finally have everything. There's many collections of this in trade paperback as well as Marvel Comics reprints from the 1980s, which is what got me into it. They spun the 20 issues into 32 issues. That's how I got into Elfquest as a kid. The last thing I want to show you is this, because this is special. And I hope you're still with me. If not, I would understand. It's been a long time, but this, oh boy. Dead Spawn 4. And it is a collection from 1982 of mini comics and posters and stories. Some of it's beautiful, some of it is interesting, some of it is funny. But in here, what got me more than anything else was this poster by Wendy and Richard Peeney. It's a poem titled The Sentinel, and it seems like they're talking about an elf or a troll. It's hard to tell. There are a lot of sketches here. Those look pretty much like the trolls. That looks like Skywise, but not quite like the Skywise we've come to know. That looks like a Zwoot, which was their the animals that they killed with when the Sun Toucher in the Sun Village. So there's not quite the same as the characters we know. And this year on this was 1978, and this side is just a large poster that looks like a Zwoot, that sort of looks like Skywise or Cutter, but with troll ears, riding the Zwoot, right? It looks like an elf, but with troll ears. It's so hard for me to tell. It's not green like the trolls are, but it's not quite a wolf rider. And this funny horned hat. Um, this must have been like ideas they had that they discarded. I Googled this dead swan before I got here. It says comics and fantasy in the back, just tells you all the different stories. There's also one there by Trina Robbins, which is really cool. Shout out to Trina Robbins. But like, what is this? I don't know. And this Dead Swan 4, apparently there were 3 issues before it. Totally cool, totally interesting, totally unknown to me what any of it is. That is Elfquest. Like I said, I highly encourage you to read it. You can get the trade paperbacks. You can get the Marvel reprints really cheap in your back issue bins. I found so many copies of them. I've sent them to school and stuff. It's a great story. It's a great thing to catch up on if you want, because it's coming out, man. Get yourself some copies before those prices go up. There will be a show, knock wood, because it's in the planning stages right now. But this is the closest we've ever had to Elfquest on the big screen, and we're really happy. So thanks for watching. Leave some comments down. Like and subscribe if you want. I know I'm supposed to tell you to do that. Leave some comments, and I will do some more of these on some other runs that I have. Thank you very much.